Welcome down the rabbit hole, friends. We're here today to finish up chapter 14, which is all about Kate Gosselin's insane attempts at medical grifting. But we're also going to take some time to address the elephant in the room. We've been ignoring it all these many episodes, and now the time has finally come to give it the full attention it demands. And that elephant is me. Me, of course. After reading Kate Gosselin's amazing letters to her state representatives attempting to get what was rightfully owed to her, I realized I've been going about my own life in all the wrong ways. And it's time for me to take a page out of Kate Gosselin's book. So I've spent the past 24 hours obsessively writing handwritten letters to people in power, making them aware of how shitty my life is. Not at all due to my own choices. This isn't about consequences or anything like that. But it's really about all the victimizing that's been going on towards me and other white middle-class women like me. I'm actually Puerto Rican, but I identify as white when I want to. And I'm identifying as that within the letter I most recently wrote to President Joe Biden. I'm going to share some of that with you now. Now, I don't consider this plagiarism, but some might, because I did use Kate's letter to her state representatives as an outline for what I wrote, explaining my own many reasons why I should be categorized as disabled and provided with free services from everyone around me. So let's go, friends, down the rabbit hole. My latest letter reads like this. To whom it may concern, mainly Joe Biden. This letter is written in reference to the fact that I've been dealing with extremely slow internet access for over 1 month now in my own personal residence. I'm writing this letter to appeal the decision you've made to ignore my 37 other letters and emails I've already sent in the past 24 hours. I currently have 2 children under the ages of 18. My one youngest is 6 years old. And in a sense, because of this, I am disabled. My kids often refuse to feed themselves. Sometimes I have to transport myself up and down a flight of stairs after I've had too much to drink because my kids are driving me crazy. Sometimes my kids tell me they're thirsty and they cannot go to the bathroom without me buying toilet paper for them at the local grocery store. Furthermore, and extremely dangerously, that's quoted directly from Kate Gosselin's letter. I think she would support me. Furthermore, and extremely dangerously, there are times that I don't know right from wrong or safe from unsafe, and I make really bad decisions. Disabled. Sometimes I will put anything, even of choking hazard size, in my mouth. Once, I pinched my finger, and that was really hard for me. Sometimes, I think about poking the eyes out of people around me because they really get on my nerves. Disabled. Any one person cannot deal with slow internet speeds for over 1 month when they are calmly and peacefully trying to watch old episodes of The Office at night when they're lonely without becoming disabled. Take, for instance, bath time. How does one person like me take a bath without being able to put my iPad next to the tub and stream episodes of Bob's Burgers? That's like one of my favorite shows and the only reason I bathe in the first place. How does one person take two children to the doctor who refuses to prescribe me the Xanax I've been asking for like 6 months now? It's frustrating, and I don't like going there knowing they're only going to give me a 30-day supply when I'm consistently telling them I need a year's supply of Xanax up front. Disabled. How can one person care for two children, my two children, while effectively meeting the needs of myself, a disabled person? I can't just put those needs aside. Day after day, I've been patiently waiting for my turn to have access to high-speed internet. And yes, they say they're sending someone out to fix it, but that might not happen until Monday. Disabled, Joe Biden. All right, so that's part of my 37th letter to Joe Biden. And, I just wanted to make sure that we address some of the feelings I've been dealing with throughout these episodes, the way that I can really relate to Kate Gosselin. The fact that, as a semi-healthy, middle-class white woman with two beautiful children who can afford to take vacations to Thailand and stuff, I'm really struggling. What kind of country are we living in that someone like me would be expected to live without high-speed internet? No. That's not the country I forget to pay my taxes to. Come on. Kate Gosselin was right all along. Writing people in authority is the way that I'm going to get myself ignored and then eventually obtain my own contract with TLC. So I'm pretty excited about everything I'm learning from this book, and I want you guys to learn from it too, because you may not even know that you're a victim. And this book could be the key to opening up all that information for you. Okay, so let's get back to 14. Okay, victims, back to chapter 14. Be sure to listen in and, take some pointers from our friend Kate. So we left off with Kate writing her state representative, talking all about how hard it was for her, but we didn't finish the letter. So let's read a little bit more. Kate brings up a good point at this part of the letter. It has to do with the possibility of a catastrophic fire, destroying everything in her home and endangering the lives of her kids, and then she would need to get a big insurance claim on that. How does one person effectively evacuate 8 children from 4 different rooms in the case of a fire? Or how does one person care for an injured bleeding child while 7 others are left unattended? This is absolutely unsafe. And I have forgotten one thing: continuity of care. Let me just, as an aside, tell you, this is where, Kate's talking about how they've had a nurse for 9 months now. You're going to take that away from them? What about the fact that, they've gotten used to that level of help? They need continuity of care. It's the only thing that makes any sense right now. I guess someone told her that the state would expect her to use, quote unquote, she quotes it here, community resources. And that's when Kate says this: community resources are elderly ladies who cannot lift 20-pound babies, let alone 6, and who certainly cannot do stairs while carrying 1 or 2 babies. Baths are out of the question. I mean, so what are you saying? You're saying that I have to get help from these elderly ladies, but that I'll have to be the one who carries the babies up and down the stairs while they do all the feeding, changing of the diapers, getting the babies ready, taking care of them. Like, it's still too much for me. And Kate makes a really good point here. She asks, where will I find a person to walk in, take over for minimal pay as a home health aide, who we parents trust, who our children trust and love, and who will be able to, on a whim, do what 9 months with our nurse of history has built. She's a really good writer here, guys. Yeah, I mean, it's like the only place she's going to be able to find people to help her with their kids like this nurse is by getting a full camera crew in there. And I mean, that's a lot of work. That's going to be, not everybody can make that happen. Exactly my point, she says. By the time May 30th rolls around, a new person will just be scratching the surface of learning our daily routine and handling the many time management challenges that I brought on myself. That is all too exhausting and unworth it for me and my family. Yeah, so if like someone does show up and they do want to take this job and they do love our kids and they meet all of these requirements, it's still not worth it for Kate Goslin. All right, but now Kate needs to let like everyone on the state floor know, because I'm sure this letter was read like probably in the Senate in front of everyone, and she needs people to know like what kind of person she is. I am a very capable person and mother. I pride myself in organization, cleanliness, and all-American fun. Like I jazz it up at home, you know, when I'm not like being a germaphobe and yelling at my husband. However, at this stage in our lives, this task is bigger than even Kate Goslin. Well, she said me, but you know, I hate asking for help, but for the safety of each of my precious children, I must ask because I love them. I mean, I barely know any of them, but yeah. I need the constant care of our nurse, Angie, to continue. Exclamation point. The previous scenarios are things I worry and pray about constantly. I am thankful that none of them have happened and pray that our care will continue to help ensure that they won't happen. God is on my side, guys, so just keep that in mind when this is read on the Senate floor. Please come and spend time in our home so you can see that what I'm telling you is true. If it is possible to hold our hearing in Reading, I would like to attend in person. However, I strongly desire a home visit so that a clear picture can be demonstrated. Oh, I guess they were going to talk about this, like they might have a hearing about it, but Kate doesn't want to drive there. She'd rather they drive to them. That just makes sense. God, she's asking for so little here. Sincerely, Kate and Jonathan Goslin. She could add me and Katie Rabbit Brown because I care a lot about this. Now, we all know, like, yeah, the things that Kate brings up here, like, of course, it's unsafe to have 8 kids with one mom. But from what we know from the rest of this book and everything that Kate has ever said and the fact that she's been on TV, they had a long list of workers who were working around the clock in shifts to help them with their children. Some of them were from church. Some of them, I'm sure, were elderly. They were not the perfect caregiver, I guess, Kate Goslin so desired. But it's really hard to find an army of Kate Goslins to help raise 8 children. And if all of them were asked to work together under the headship of a Kate Goslin, those Kate Goslins would have destroyed each other. So, you know, she's really in a tough place and she needs Angie to stick around. Probably like something Angie was doing just hit her in the right way. I bet you Angie was giving her like foot massages or something. That's like something I would do as a nurse if I went to someone's home. I've never done like the in-home care stuff, but I would just be like I'm so, I don't even know. Like if I get bored or something, I'd be like, let me paint your nails. That sounds like a really healthy thing for me to work on with you. All right, but Hoffman says, because he just doesn't get how amazing Kate is, Kate's words in her letter make her sound not just unbelievably stupid, but shockingly removed from reality. It would almost be amusing if it weren't so truly pathetic. What Kate describes as disabilities are the characteristics of being a baby. Any baby, every baby. No babies can feed themselves or bathe themselves or dress themselves. They're babies. That's part of the package. Did this somehow come as a surprise to Kate? The letter, this is what Hoffman says, and he's right on target. The letter also speaks to Kate's arrogance and sense of entitlement. It suggests that she had no intention of taking on the burden of caring for the children. She actively set out to create 110%. Okay, so one thing that happened, and this is the next part of chapter 14, is that Kate went to the top of her local political scene, and she enlisted a senator, Mike Opaque, because, and he stipulates here, Hoffman stipulates here, and this is what I've talked about before, she was so frustrated that her free nurse, Angie Krall, was going to be taken away after 9 months of free services because there were other children waiting on a waiting list. And this is what I've spoken about before when I worked in North Carolina. There was a wait list, and it wasn't just about in that situation, it wasn't about who needed it the most. It was about who was there first. And it was really sad to watch families that clearly needed the help not getting it, and seeing families that could have gone without some of that help. Not saying that they should have. I don't want to take it away from them. But they clearly were not as much in need, and they had help for years and years and years. It was just really sad to watch. So then Hoffman puts in a letter from Senator Mike Opaque, written directly to the state's medical assistant benefits program. And he basically is standing up for Kate. And he says, since receiving notification, they have attempted to secure childcare through the Child Care Information Services of Berks County, only to be informed that they are not eligible due to not meeting the work requirements. So Mr. and Mrs. Goslin find themselves in a quandary. As it is physically impossible for Mrs. Goslin to be employed outside the home and care for her 8 children. However, they are unable to afford in-home care on Mr. Goslin's income. In light of the above noted information, I would like to respectfully request that you personally review this case so that a compassionate and just result will be obtained. Sincerely, Michael Opaque, Senator, 11th District. So Kate was not playing around. She was contacting people left and right. But all the way back in 2005, Hoffman, I just love all the information he gathered for us. He lets us know that there were reporters who were already questioning Kate's story. There was an article that came out in the Tribune Review that talked about Kate asking that her sextuplets be found disabled. And he gives us some excerpts from the article. I'll read a couple of them here to you. They're quite interesting. The writer, Dimitri Vassileros, wrote, Kate and John Goslin want you to pretend their sextuplets are disabled. If you play along, they can keep the free nurse provided by Medicaid to help raise their 1-year-olds and the Goslins' 4-year-old twin daughters in their Berks County home. Mom and Dad will plead their case at a hearing on Thursday. Every morning, I ask the Lord for strength to try to remain calm, Kate said. As a registered nurse, this is what Dimitri writes. However, she knew the risks of fertility drugs. Goslin did not regret the decision after she was told about her 6 babies, nor for the opposing selective reduction that sometimes is performed in multifetal pregnancies to lessen potential risk to the mother and surviving fetuses. But if Kate, this is so silly, if Kate had a crystal ball, would she have taken these fertility drugs? The 2 parents have more kids than they can handle, Dimitri wrote. Volunteers have helped, but nowhere near enough, Kate said. The taxpayers are helping by providing health coverage, but the Goslins want more. Dimitri writes, the need for special services such as a nurse is not based on income. The state's first question was whether the Goslin children qualify medically, and the answer is no, so you do not get it. Dimitri writes, the little one's good health was her bad luck. Go figure. And then Kate is quoted as saying, I might be able to meet their physical needs, but not the emotional needs. It is very difficult. I'm talking about time to talk about feelings, read books, and the absolute bare necessities to get done. I cannot do it 5 days a week. Yeah, you were really selfish. And I think you really screwed over your twins, Maddie and Kara. Absolutely. So I just started watching, there's not a lot of clips in this video, but I will put them in the next one. I started watching Kate Plus 8. So this is like long after when Carrie and Maddie are basically teenagers now and the divorce has happened. And I am kind of blown away by the relationships I see between Kara, Maddie, and Kate. They're very focused. They focus a lot on those relationships in the storyline, and it's pretty ridiculous. So then, after Dimitri does this interview with Kate, she actually ends up calling him back and says that she wants to talk to him because they wanted to preview his column before publication, because they had heard that people were saying some bad things about them in regards to them wanting to keep this nurse. Dimitri says, my editor declined the request. Kate then said she wanted to retract everything, even though she admitted that all of it is true. People are out to make us look bad, Kate said. Now, at the end of this part of the chapter, Hoffman provides receipts that he spent a lot of time speaking to helpers who were part of the Goslins' home at this time. And he's seen photographs of like the schedules that were written up of people coming in and out and what it was like inside the Goslin home during this period. I've seen videos of it as well. And Hoffman states there were more volunteers than Kate could possibly have kept busy in a lifetime. I remember seeing video of people like folding laundry for her. I mean, we're talking about like she had help. While they did all the work, Kate laid around and gave orders or posted notes and lists that only served to upset people. She spent little to no time with her children, opting instead to position herself in her kitchen while her children were out of sight, being looked after by complete strangers. So totally different reality that Hoffman is sharing with us. Kate felt that it was more important to spend the entire day in the kitchen making formula and washing and labeling bottles. We're talking about OCD, germophobia. She just has so much going on. She thought that was more important than bonding with her babies. So for her to state that if she lost her only full-time help, she would have to do this alone, that's just an outrageous lie. Wow. Well, Kate, it's like, I can relate because I don't know if you guys have heard, but I've been dealing with slow internet access. Yeah, it's true. I know it might seem like someone like me should never have to deal with something like that, but it's been something I've been dealing with for quite a while now. And I have little to no help with it. I mean, only like CenturyLink, they call me like every couple of days and they're like, how's your internet access? Can we like come out and fix your wire? And then they said that they'd be out on Monday to like, fix the modem and everything's going to be fine. And I'm just like, this is effing ridiculous. What kind of life am I living? So, I mean, I get it. That's what I'm saying. All right. All right. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I love all of you. We're barely in the middle of this crazy book, so it'll be interesting. I really can't wait to hear what he has to say about Aunt Jody. So thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you'll join me again so we can head down another rabbit hole.